data monitoring and elimination of double standards is crucial for getting forward.
Setting up priorities which are evidence-based.
Yes, to that, because I think one of the things that came through very clearly for me during my Italian mission was with the cutbacks, with the fiscal cutbacks, it was impacting shelters, services, etc. for battered women, which means, of course, with the continuum of violence, it can lead to the deaths. But what wasn't on the radar, and it was worrying that once services shut down, it's not only deprivation to the victim, but it's a loss of expertise to that country. And it costs more to develop that expertise when the financial crisis is over. And so in my report to the government, I talk about the fact that you're losing a whole lot of expertise because of these cutbacks and the closing down of shelters, of women's rights organizations, etc. And it's going to cost you far more to reset these things up. And so I think that loss of expertise needs to be factored into all decisions when fiscal cutbacks are being discussed.
Yes.
That's very important also for other countries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perhaps as we are finishing our meeting, let us focus again on Latin America and the summit ahead. Latin America in a certain way seems to be at the forefront because they had the declaration of Belén do Pará on violence against women, which was already adopted in 1993, if I'm not mistaken. And recently, in 2010, we have the ruling of the Inter-American Court of Human Rights in the famous cotton fields case against the Mexican state. So everybody is applauding this ruling. However, the Mexican state does not implement the recommendations. What should the EU do?
Well, actually, the funny thing, obviously, ironically, with the Mexicans, is that this is a topic that is up and down depending on the international pressure. When there is a sort of international pressure, something happens. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's less better, but something happens. You have a law, you have a reaction from the government, you have a reaction from the governor of the state of Juarez or whatever. Something happens. The problem is that the European Union has to understand, in order that this to happen, the topic has to be in all the bilateral dialogues. It's not enough that we speak about this one day and then after 3 years we simply forget because something is being done there. That's a completely mistake. And that's what I ask the external services, but also the capitals and the European Union and the European Parliament and the Commission to keep this into their agendas in every bilateral meeting they have, not only with Mexico, with the Central American countries, with everybody that is having this type of situations. Because that's proven, it's the only way that we can see some improvements there. The second aspect that is important as well. Mexico is a very singular case. It shouldn't be said that it's the worst in the world. I mean this is relative if you want. On the positive side, Mexico has the positive thing to have been leading the conceptual debate, which is something important. I mean, I have to give credit to those people in Mexico that have started thinking, trying to theoretically define the concept. Feminicides in Guatemala, the femicides, whatever you want to call them, but they are starting to have this into the intellectual arena, which is something that is important, and we have to credit those countries for this. The political response is a completely different story. And several times we have heard from Mexican authorities saying that, well, we have a bigger and more important problem there, which is the narco traffic. And because of this, we cannot focus on other aspects that are kind of minor issues like the killing of women. Well, that's completely, I'm sorry to say, but it's a lie. I mean, first, both things are usually linked and very much linked. Second, if you want to tackle the real roots, the causes of the two problems are most of the time the same. Inequality and injustice, impunity, lack of capacity for the tribunals, from the justice services, corruptions. This is what we need to tackle. And this is a problem fighting the narco traffic, and this is a problem fighting the killings of women. So in that sense, if we don't understand the roots and the causes of those phenomena, we are not going to be able to fight them. So that's what the European authorities need to put all the debates with Mexicans, with Guatemalans, with Honduras, with El Salvador, and obviously with other countries. I mean, you mentioned those in Asia, which are absolutely also singular in their characteristics and their patterns. But still, the problem, as you said in the beginning, is the same.
Yeah.